Hello everyone, and welcome to the Sets and Booleans lecture. So in this lecture we're going to learn about two more other object types, and one is a data structure, sets, and the Boolean object type, which is basically just a true and false display in Python. This is the Jupyter notebook that corresponds with this lecture, so let's just go ahead and start coding and go through it. Okay, so sets can be thought of as an unordered collection of unique elements. And that's the important part, the fact that those elements inside of that set are unique. So you can construct a set using the set function notation. So it's going to look something like this. So I'm going to make a set, and I'm going to label it with the variable x here. So now x is a set. Great. Right now it's an empty set. So how do I add elements to that set? So I use the add method, which is going to be x or whatever variable you decide to call your set, dot add for add, and you can add whatever objects you want to it. So I'm going to say x dot add 1, and if I check now what my x is, it's going to look and add that 1 into that set. So something interesting here, you notice that the notation is curly brackets. So this actually does not indicate that it's a dictionary, although you can draw analogies as a set, almost like being a dictionary but with only the keys. Because remember, in a dictionary you can't have multiple keys being the exact same thing. You can only have unique keys. And you can kind of think of as a set as just a dictionary but only keys that are unique. So let's go ahead and add a different element to our set, which is called x. So let's go ahead and add the number 2 to it. Now I check that I have 1 and 2 in my set. So what happens if I try to add the same elements that's already in there? So we know 1 is already in there. So what happens? So you realize there's actually no change. It won't place another 1 in there like it would if it was like a list or something. And that's because a set's only concerned with the unique elements. So you can actually use that set function to cast something like a list with multiple repeat elements to get the unique elements. And I'll show you an example of what I mean by that. So I'm going to say L is equal to a list, and in this list I'm going to have a couple 1s, a couple 2s, a couple 3s, and then like a 4. So notice how I have repeated items or elements in that list that occur more than once. So if I take that list and cast it, remember we kind of use casting as a term back for using floats and casting numbers as floats. So if I use sets of L, notice that the set's going to grab all those unique values. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 are the unique values in that list. And that's basically the gist of sets. So remember, sets are only concerned with the unique elements, and you can create them by calling this empty set function, and you can add to them with this dot add method. So sets are going to be a super useful tool, and we'll come back to them later on throughout the course as a really unique tool because of this feature that they are only concerned with unique elements. Alright, let's go ahead and move along to Booleans. So Python comes with Booleans, which are basically predefined true and false displays, almost like integers 1 and 0. So it also has a placeholder object called none, and let's go ahead and walk through a couple of examples of this. So I'm going to say A is equal to true. Run that cell, and now if I show A, it shows out true. And we can also use comparison operators to create Booleans. So we haven't gone over specific comparison operators. We'll go over them. There's an entire section on this course for them, but I'm just going to show you a quick example. So I can ask, is 1 greater than 2? And the output will be a Boolean, which is false, since 1 is not greater than 2. And we'll go over all these different symbols and what they mean later on in the course. And let's go ahead and switch this. Let's say, is 11 greater than 2? Then the output of the Boolean is true. Okay. So we can also use none as a placeholder for an object that we don't want to reassign yet. And what I mean by none is the actual word none with a capital N there. And now B is going to be a placeholder, and you notice nothing popped out when I set that cell to run, since it's literally none. And then I can reassign it to maybe a string, and now B is equal to A, or the string of A. Okay, so that's it. It's just a super basic understanding of sets and Booleans. We'll touch upon them later on throughout the course. So just a quick review, if we hop over back to this Jupyter notebook, sets are an unordered collection of unique elements. You construct them using this set function, and you can add to them with this add method. And remember, they have curly brackets, but that doesn't mean they're a dictionary, although you can draw analogies as a set being a dictionary with only keys. Okay, remember you can also use set to cast another data structure such as a list to only get the unique values out of it. Then we went over Booleans, which are basically just true and false, and we went over none use as a placeholder. Okay, so we'll learn way more and see Booleans a lot more when it comes to comparison operations later on in the course. And we'll also go over them throughout the course. They're going to be super useful to have logic within our code. Okay, so that's about it, and I'll see you at the next lecture. Thanks.